Just I think that's what kind of skewed us away from being like, hey, let's not just jump right into something and be like, hey, this is where we are with boyfriend and girlfriend. And on top of that, we both just got out of a relationship. So I can definitely see myself being in a committed relationship. But, like I said, I'll let nature do whatever it does with that.
When she spooned like a BB moment, which is like a beautiful black moment. Did we get any of those in this episode?
Black.
We have a chaotic bi moment of the
chaotic bi moment. And you're watching Black Bi Reality.
Black Bi Baddies.
And those who love us.
There we go. Hi, Jared. This is Nicole Weaver from Black Bi Reality. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing today?
I'm good. My first question for you is I think your whole game turned, I think about 3 weeks ago, of course, when the Izzy vote was coming. Now, I have a theory because the whole house, except for Cam, was have-nots during that time. And, your mom, she was in the kayak with Miss Felicia. She wanted Felicia out, but she couldn't go around working on that. So that left it up to you. And, I think you were very much more antsy during that time. And you were like, I'm gonna put the fear in Cory right now, talking about putting up America and stuff. For me at home, a lot of people are like, what the heck is Jared doing? He's like on one right now. I was like, I think he's hangry. I think he's literally hangry. So can you tell me how much slop came into play with your action?
Slop was no fun, especially not for me. Slop for me was not eating. I'm not a big fan of eating the same thing over and over day by day. So slop definitely, affected my my character at the time. But at the end of the day, I don't like to blame anything outside on me making bad decisions or me, making any decision for that matter in the game. It was just something that I felt like would help in the time, trying to kind of make Cory antsy about America going up. And it proved to be not necessarily the best move for my game. But I think regardless at that point, people kind of had a narrative about how I was in all these groups and all these different power structures. And I feel like regardless of what I was to say or how I would have moved different in that week, people were going to be targeting me following that anyway. So it's like, I told Izzy I was going to try my hardest to protect her, and I try my best to do so. One thing I regret most is just not actually using the veto to take her down. I felt as if that would have showed my hand way too much, and ultimately, I still got my hand shown through Cory. So, that's one of those things that I look back and say, damn, I wish I just did that a little different. But at the end of the day, I played and made moves that I thought was right in the moment, and that's that. I can't really blame it on being hungry, even though I was starving.
You told your mom at the beginning, you're like, slop is no joke. And she's like, boy, I was on Survivor.
I know, right? Fair. Who am I talking to?
Okay, so my next one, going into the whole Cory thing, it seemed like you really did love having the upper hand in most of your relationships in the house. Even with Blue, it was when she tried to talk to you about withholding information on the alliances, it was like, well, I didn't think that was important. But then on the other hand, I think you really wanted the upper hand of all that information from Cory and Blue. So now seeing, that kind of situation leads people to then want to get back at you. Would you handle that a different way?
Yeah, for sure. I told Blue that in the moment too. It's just like, hey, I understand at the end of the day, I probably should have let you in on this thing, on some of this information that I felt wasn't such a big deal. But, it doesn't matter how I felt in that moment. It's all about how the person who I'm working with. And if I consider you a teammate, a partner, or whatever it may be, you should be just as well aware of everything as much as I am. So, like I said, it's hard when you're playing this game. You try to make certain things here. You try to skew a little bit. You try to skew things there, and you feel as if it's all in the benefit of your game. But sometimes, those things could be the same thing that very well come back and bite you in the butt. So, at the end of the day, it's my first time ever playing. I try my hardest at the end, and no one can take that from me, at least. Yeah. And looking back, obviously, it's kind of like any other game any sport that I ever played. It's like, hey, you make adjustments to these plays where you ran left instead of right. And the next time you go out there, you do it right and you hopefully bring it home.
Sure. You got into a showmance with Blue. Now, it seems like you're a guy who's not a fan of labels. I'll say that because you got us confused out here. You were still in that relationship from the past. Did you have your dog during then? And like you were talking about how you wanted an HOH letter from the person at home, but then with you, you're having this new showmance. When things hit hard, you're like, well, can't end something that was never actually a relationship. So do you have any plans on a committed relationship with like either person after this?
So I was really clear and really adamant about expressing to Blue, like, hey, I just got out of a 7-year long relationship. And it's tough because at the end of the day, after being with someone for 7 years, even though you guys may not be involved romantically, you still have love for that person regardless, just as a friend. And getting this platform, I wanted to be able to share that platform with her and whatever she had going on. So as far as to me wanting to just kind of nip that in the bud, I really just wanted to get ahead of that and let people understand that people are going to think what they want to think regardless, and I've been able to kind of come to terms with that. But I was, like I said, with the one person who I needed to be open with, which was Blue. I told her, like, hey, it's going to be tough because this is a really quick transition for me, but at the end of the day, you can't stop nature. We did end up falling for each other and moving towards that. But we always discussed kind of just like, hey, we got to see each other outside of here first to see who we are outside of game players, because regardless of how much we tried to separate personal and game, that line is super hard in that house, and it's like, okay, I wanted to do this move for my personal because this is somebody I care about, but also I know that I signed up to come here to win, and there only could be one winner. And I think that was kind of happening on both sides for that matter. And just I think that's what kind of skewed us away from being like, hey, let's not just jump right into something and be like, hey, this is where we are with boyfriend and girlfriend. And on top of that, we both just got out of a relationship. So I can definitely see myself being in a committed relationship. But, like I said, I'll let nature do whatever it does with that. I'm not going to try to force anything, and I'll allow everybody to come into it on their own.
Totally. I have one last question. You talked to Parade about Matt and how you said you had a conversation. Matt claimed he only threw out that you took advantage of his disability as like feeling easier about betraying you. So, but I think a lot of people still noticed a little bit of ableist actions. I know you talked about the R word and everything. Some fans also accused you of talking around Matt to your mom specifically, I think in the pantry. And sometimes if like Matt asked what you guys were talking about, you would switch up the conversation, which is like not something you could or like flip the words. Like you really need to win this week. And when I think Matt asked, you changed it to we need to really win this week. Little things like that. So like what's your response of that kind of, people kind of looking sideways at that?
First things first. I just want to apologize to Matt and the disabled community as a whole, and even for my comments towards America, I want to apologize to her also. Just because at the end of the day, I made mistakes, and regardless of how I felt, it was out of line, and I know that it was out of line now. Being able to watch back and reflect on it, and I know I got to take accountability for it. And I am a human at the end of the day. I make mistakes just like everybody else, but I got to get out in front of it because I did have a platform that many people were able to watch that and see that hey, you said something wrong. And I want people to understand that I know that it was definitely wrong. And every day I will make sure to work on myself as a person and just improve myself because I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. I got a lot of more growing to do. I'm only 25 and you think you know it all at 25, but you really don't. It's so much more to learn. Within just 3 months, I learned so much. So over the next couple of years, over the next couple of days, over the next couple of hours, I continue to improve myself as a person. And I think me and Matt had a mutual understanding just about having that conversation, just letting them know, like, hey, dude, like, if you ever did feel as if I was using your disability to an advantage, that's just not what I've been trying to do. Yes, for sure. Just like everybody else, I'm not going to tell Matt the same thing I just went and had the conversation with about my mom. I would definitely change certain things in that conversation, just like I would do for the Jags of the world, the Bowies, anybody else who I was talking to, because at the end of the day, I did have to conceal my game. So for that part of it, no, like I still would definitely make sure whoever I'm talking to, I'm not just trying to be so direct and as far as what me and my mom said, but on the other hand of things and people feeling as if, I'm, an ableist or whatever that may be, I definitely want to just go ahead and apologize for that for sure.
Okay, thank you. That looks like that's all the time we have. Should be interesting to see you reacting to your mom still being in that house. She's not a target right now. She's still doing amazing. So hope you guys have a good one.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. Bye.